My name is Kathleen and I'm the Director of Rape Crisis. The idea that someone can tell a story in a way that brings about a change, I think, is quite fundamental to the work of Rape Crisis. It's started years and years ago, 45 years ago, when rape survivors would come to Rape Crisis to tell the story of their trauma in a counselling space. We had a helpline, we had a pager, and people would counsel women on park benches, in the back seat of cars, at coffee shops, wherever. And that process of storytelling as a way of healing is the absolute backbone of the organization from then until now. And as the years have gone by, we've realized that there are many other spaces where stories are told. We tell stories in the staff meeting every month. We tell stories at the kitchen table when we have tea. We tell stories to our friends. We tell stories to our colleagues and to our communities. And we hear stories from the community all the time when we run workshops. And what we've realized in this process of storytelling is that there's a kind of a co-ownership and a co-creation of stories that goes on between the storytellers and the organization. And we want to really be tuned in and sensitive to that in terms of understanding how those stories want to be told. And will the storytellers allow that? And can we as an organization hold the right kind of a space around that? So we're just taking it inch by inch. We're just really going very slowly. We're taking a moment to pause and to ask the storytellers what they think and feel about this journey, and to make sure that they have a choice and a say in what happens to those stories at the end of the day. So at Rape Crisis, we believe in the principle of empowerment and what empowerment means, because rape essentially takes away a person's power, and it takes away all choice and agency that they have in that particular moment. And that's one of the most traumatic things about the process. There are many things that are traumatic about rape, but that helplessness and that inability to have any impact over what is happening is a very powerful part of it. So everything that we do at Rape Crisis is designed to undo that, and to renew the possibility of having power, of having choice, of having agency, of being able to have an impact on your world and on your life. So the principles that we believe are part of empowerment come from the healing of trauma, essentially, but we apply it in many, many different ways. Even in our staff engagements, in our relationships with one another as a team, we try to make sure that these principles are upheld, and there's 4 of them, and they're very easy to understand and they're very easy to apply in various different ways. So the first one is the principle of safety, and finding out what it is for each individual person and for each group that you work with. What makes this a safe place to talk? What is it about it? Is it the fact that you're sitting on a comfortable chair, that you can have a cup of tea, that it's private and no one can overhear what you're saying, that the person you're speaking to is a stranger and can cope with what you're saying to them? They are not going to talk about that elsewhere. The second thing is the idea of respect, of being believed, because rape survivors are so often held up to scrutiny for their own behavior, even though they're the victim of one of the most heinous crimes. But why were you in that bar? Why were you so drunk? Why were you wearing revealing clothes? Why were you? As if any of those things are criminal behaviors in and of themselves. So many rape survivors are made to feel like criminals, and that it's so easy to do, and it's played upon by defense attorneys in court, which is probably the pinnacle of your storytelling moment, is to tell your story in court. That being judged in that way, and specifically being disbelieved, is probably the most undermining thing that can happen. So respect is one of that's the second principle of empowerment, and respect for the person's story, how they tell it, when and where and at what pace and how much they want to reveal. And even keeping silent is really important. And then the third principle is the principle of choice, of informed choice. So our stance as an organisation on that is to give people as much information as we can to enable them to make the choices that they need to make. Whether it's about how much information they want to share, whether it's about whether they want to report the rape or not, whether it's that they don't want to come for counselling anymore, you know, whatever their choices are, we make sure they have the right information where that's concerned. And then last but not least, ongoing support. So it's not just about supporting the person in the moment, it's also about making sure that they get support in other parts of their life on an ongoing basis as needed. So that support isn't something that's given and then taken away, given and then taken away. It has to be ongoing.